Our next inductee is the second version of the Boston Bad Boy, Jason Rumble, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people have come up here and talked about Tony Rumble. Tony he gave so many people opportunities, and I was one of them. And Jason's another one that I've known since day one. And for him to be able to carry on Tony's name and persona after he passed away in '99 speaks volumes for Jason. So here to induct him is another member of NWA New England. I want to bring up, once known as the Dynasty, Mr. Beau Douglas.
Haven't already said. But one thing I'd like to bring up is something I like to talk about quite a bit. It's generations. I look around this room right now, and honestly, I see every single generation of my wrestling career. Now, I started in 1997, and I walked into Killer Kowalski's gym to faces like Ron Zombie over here and Luis Ortiz over here. And, you know, I felt a little out of place seeing that I was 17 years old. And a kid walking into this big world of pro wrestlers. Then about 6 months later, this little tiny, short little guy with the scrappy hair comes walking in, making friends with everyone, and comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, what's up, kid?" Jason. So here I am, thinking he's my age. Lo and behold, about 3 months later, I find out he's 8 years my senior. So that's what a lot of people don't quite understand in here, is people in their generations. And when it comes to age, and it comes to family, like I said, I look around, I've been beat up by almost every single worker in this room, whether it's Slam Dog, Knuckles Nelson, Ron Zombie, Mercenary, Luis Ortiz, Kyle Storm, Jose Perez. And then, also I learned from each and every one of you guys. You know, but that's not where training ends. A couple of years back, Cauliflower Alley Club, I was able and honored to attend the Holly Race Seminar on the credentials and the grassroots and the structure of being a heel, you know. So I'm not going to heel out this crowd anymore. I'm going to tell you guys that we're here to honor ourselves, as well as everyone who came before us. So what I'd like to do now is bring up my brother, my friend, you know him as Jason Rage, others know him as Jason Rumble. I'll give you Jason Rumble.
To bring the mic down because I'm vertically challenged. You know, a lot of people come up here, the first person they thank, you know, when you watch an athlete take a speech, they thank the Lord up above. I was a devout Catholic boy at one time, and definitely the Lord up above has heard me thank him many a times. But the first person I realistically want to thank, and they're two people. It's my mom and dad for getting together in the back of that car and bumping up. Secondly, there's one man on this earth that changed my life at the age of 25. The day of meeting this man, for those of you who don't know, to understand the persona of a professional wrestler, usually it's the person you've always wanted to be. Even though I played football and I was on all the good teams and everybody wanted to be my friend, there was certain points where I was picked on, man. I was ridiculed. The only way I knew how to ridicule this was to pick up my fist and fight. And I was a definite visitor to that principal's office on a daily basis. And I really didn't know
how to get along with other people. When I met Walter Kowalski, and I remember the day I went into his gym, there's one person that brought me up there. It was a bouncer at a little bar called TJ's Grill, and the ECW guys used to come in there a lot. And there was one girl named Erin McKenzie, and she used to date one of my friends. And I would totally talk Perry Satin's ear off, and John Crowne, and I would chew their ear like it was bubblegum, wanting to know the ins and outs of professional wrestling. And little did I know, in the city I grew up in, Malden, Massachusetts, that right behind the bar that I worked at for 2 years, along with walking by this place for 4 years going to Malden High School, that up above this building was Walter Kowalski's School of Professional Wrestling. I never even knew that. And it was one day at an ECW show, and Perry Satin tore his knee up, and he basically looked at me, and just like Brad Piper said, for those who have kids, you better cover your ears right now. Basically, Perry looked at me, and he was a pissed off son of a bitch with a torn out knee. He goes, listen, stop fucking talking to me and go to Kowalski School, because I'm never fucking talking to you again until you learn wrestling. 2 days later, I went up to Walter Kowalski's. On a Tuesday, I met that individual. He was so big, his hands just curled in the claw position, and I'll never forget that. I was so intimidated to meet this individual. When I walked in there, he showed me the school, and I seen all the guys bumping around and wrestling. And I was like, wow, that's my dream. I want to be like these guys. He gave me the best inspirational point. He goes, at the very end, he goes, listen, you may be short, you may not have all the weight in the world, but the next time I see you, you better pretend and better get in your brain that you're 6'2", 302 pounds. And I have held that saying on my back ever since I met Walter Kowalski. I've never cared that I was vertically challenged. I never cared that I was underweight. I just wanted to love this, to learn the sport because I loved it. I remember as a small kid, my father put me in front of the TV, my great Nani. In her living room, it was Jesus and a picture of Bruno Sammartino. I sat in front of the TV and I watched this guy with big ears and a red, white, blue jacket on with a towel tucked into his jacket. He said, by golly, this, that, and the other. And it wasn't Hulk Hogan that made me fall in love with this business. It was, who I believe, one of the greatest wrestlers that I ever watched, and I had the dubious distinction of being able to wrestle this man in Sanford, Maine, and it was one of the biggest highlights of my whole life, and that is the legend, in my mind, is Bob Backlund, one of the greatest wrestlers. For those of you who know Bob retired, he never wanted to wrestle again. I'm going to go back and forth from years and years because that's the way my brain is jumbled. I got to, in 2000, I remember walking down a driveway and I seen some tears by the Magliaro family. And I remember Ellen telling me that the company was all over. I was like, oh, the company can't be over. I just spent $4,500 on a brand new ring so we could have my shows. There's stocks. And people like Beau Douglas, people like Chris Charisma, who couldn't be here, Vinny Capelli, Mark Green, people like that helped me pick up the baton. Luis Ortiz obviously was there for me, man. I'll get to it. I'm going to jumble this up. You gave me this microphone. I'm going to talk. I'm going to let you know my story. And we didn't let that ball go. And I remember the day I went over for dinner for the house, and it was Ellen and the two daughters, and they surrounded me like I was a dead carcass on a desert highway, and they were buzzers. And I'm like, whoa, this is like weird. And they looked at me and they told me, you know, you may not have the height, but everything about you reminds us of Tony. And being a little kid in this area in New England, and those of you, like we were talking earlier, me and Lewis, about not having a cable box to watch TV, and I remember on Channel 25 watching ICW professional wrestling, and seeing this dude who was wicked cool with baseball helmet. His promos were incredible, and it enticed me, and I fell in love with ICW wrestling. And later to find out that my birth mom, God rest her soul, my mom passed away when I was 16 years old. My mom worked in the combat zone with Tony at the Slipper. Well, isn't that a great conversation piece for a promoter? And those of you who have ran into Tony, there ain't a person that hasn't come across Tony Rome's path that he doesn't remember. And when I described my mother to him, was I remember, Mary, you were one of the wrestling brats that used to go with Sarge the cab driver. I was like, holy crap, how does he know this? I fell in love with the business. I saved in an old school metal Band-Aid box my paper route money, my 10-cent bottle returnables, just so I could go to the Boston Garden each and every month to watch professional wrestling. As a kid, I grew up, I had two goals in life. A, I wanted to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys because they got the hottest chicks. But then I learned I was too short to be a quarterback. And my second thing was to be a professional wrestler. And I know that if I had walked into this business 5 years before the 17 that I've been into this, I would have been a referee. Just look at me. Not tall, 180 pounds if I'm lucky, but Walter Killer Kowalski, and from the smaller guys in wrestling that made my dreams come true. What Mitch did in the bud is I went to a CWA show also, and I watched on that night. It was Jimmy Snooker and a lot of the Patriots came out for that night. And I'll never forget watching Steve Carino came out. And I was like, oh my God. I said to the girl I was with at the time, as you know in this wrestling business, girls are like lottery tickets, you scratch them and throw them away if they don't win. I like that one. That's $10.99 in my comment. And I looked and I was like, holy crap, this guy's small. I can do this. And the girl I was with at the time was like, you're crazy. It's already to jump in there with football players trying to be a football star. Those of you who have played 5 years of semi-pro football, I tried out for the NFL, this, that, and the other. And that's why you're like, wow, this dude has scrambled eggs for brains. Thank you very much for noticing that. But just this business, over the past 18 years, it's given me the best memories, the best times, the best friend in the whole wide world, man. Sitting right there, 2 rows back in that first seat. That guy's never left my side. Never left my side. We're like that SpongeBob, those 2 guys that bottle Bob and the other guy, you know what I mean? That's going to be us the old age. This has just been the most tremendous ride in the whole wide world. For Howard Brody recognizing me with the original, with the NWA, and I got to become a 3-time NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. It was the greatest thrills of my life being able to tour around with that belt and see 27 out of 50 states, being able to tour England for 17 days and defend the title. That's what I wanted to be. I gave up my landscaping business, because this is all I wanted. I wanted this dream. And I still try to capture this dream on a weekend basis. It may not be like the weeks I used to take off and the months I take off, but those of you who know, one day comes and you never think you're going to meet that person you fall in love with. And I remember the wrestling show like it was yesterday. My wife in the second row. I was the heel of the town that night and beat up her best friend, and the family fucking hated me. And my father was drunk, pointing his finger at me. I looked at him and I said, get used to looking at this face because I'm going to marry your daughter. I just met this chick 5 minutes ago. She already freaking hated me. And she's still with me 6 years later. Married. We've been together for roughly around 8-9 years. As a wrestling man, you don't know years. I feel like I've been with her forever. Like I've known her since the first one. I got a lovely 4-year-old daughter who, she loves this business already, man. I mean, pushing into this. She knows Monday night, she knows WWE Network. I can't even fool her come 8 o'clock. She looks at the clock, she knows wrestling's on. So whatever I wasn't able to do, I know that the time that maybe I do have to step back someday and retire, I'm going to be right on my kids' coattails. And I'm going to be happy to say that some people say, I want to get my daughter or my son to this business. I would be proud of the pig shit if my daughter takes after her old man and goes for the next step and doesn't take no for an answer and knocks down that door and takes over where I left off. So many things, man, that I can say. I'm proud of where I've been. I'm proud of what I've done. Like Louis said, I have no freaking idea what the hell I'm going to do after this. Absolutely not. We opened up a school, Beau, Douglas, and I, known as the Belltime Club. We've got a bunch of great students in the word and honor of Walter Kowalski. That's the way we train them, man. Get in the ring and you do your sport. There's some people that I can't forget along the way that helped me during this process. The people at Walter Kowalski School did not have to take their time to train me and put me in their ring. People like Freight Train Dan, Steve King, David D'Angelo. Not for nothing, there was a guy one day I came to class real early, and he was sitting on the top of Walter's fire exit, just tanning. And the door was open, and I remember getting into the ring with this guy. And after I got into the ring with this guy, he beat the hell out of me. And I told him, oh, this is just my 6th class. He almost legitimately beat the hell out of me. His name's Knuckles Nelson. He helped me along the way. When it was me, Lewis, and Wagner Brown, the 2K Club, for Tony Rumbles, NWA New England, and that's who should be here next year, man. There's 2 out of the 3 2K Clubs. Swift Wagner Brown should be right here next year. Tony Rumble hoisted the ring with Knuckles Nelson and Eric Sprague. Months and months and months and months and months and months. Oh, one time we got to get in there with you guys, but then it was after that with Knuckles and Sprague. Months and months and months and months. I learned a lot from you guys, man. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. I have no ill feelings towards any of you. I know what this business is about. I feel like I seen you yesterday. I remember the day meeting with Big Woody. Sat in my house, and we talked, and we had a great conversation. And that's the Knuckles Nelson I know. And that's the Knuckles Nelson that'll always be in my head. He helped me. So, for those of you who didn't know, man, for years, maybe Knuckles and me held a little bit of animosity. I don't know animosity towards nobody. Life is a very short thing. The man up above doesn't give you a ticket to say tomorrow you're going to wake up. You're lucky to wake up the next day and take a breath of fresh air. Just remember that. So every time you go to bed and you do something, let people know, the special people around you, let them know you love them. Let people know how much you appreciate them. Because like I said, it's not a guarantee that you get to wake up tomorrow and you get to do those things. You know? It's not. You need to do more of that things. I mean, in closing, all I can realistically say is all the people that I've ever gotten into the ring for, those of you who we had 50-50 even matches, those were great. Those of you who I had to eat up, spit up, and swallow, I don't really, in certain ways, shapes, and forms, feel bad for, because that's the way Walter Kowalski trained me. If you can't take it, then that's too bad, because I will give it. And the greatest days in my life was meeting my wife, having my kid, and knowing that I got the greatest family on the outside, and that's the wrestling people, man. When I got married, not one person from my childhood or who I grew up with was part of my wedding party. They were all people that had met in this business that I love. My father said to me at one point, for the first 20 years of your life, you're not going to see those people afterwards. It's the second phase of your life. Those are the people that are going to be there for thick and thin and going to stick beside you. And those people are still there. I may be a New England Hall of Fame wrestler, but damn, in order for me to be a Hall of Fame husband and father, I got a long way to go. And making me all breathless. All I can say is I'm not in the sport of